Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, right on. And it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control. which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the sixth version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. They were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to bits! You can't make me do anything like Chris!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga, and if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
Well, I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, "Brother Greg, you coming by today?" And I said, "Malcolm, I love you." And I said, "I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there." He said, "What do you mean, Brother Greg?" I said, "Well, I close tonight, Sunday night in Basin Street East." And I said, "But I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.
the ministers of foreign affairs and our representatives in Addis Ababa.
Coming when other continental unions like the EU are grappling with the exit of a
the
key
ministers
partner,
of foreign affairs
the United Kingdom.
and our
The single
representatives
African
in
passport
Addis
is
Ababa.
expected to eliminate restrictions in the continent and boost trade among the 54 countries.
That the people who really need it are the most of the business.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm going to stop there for a second, and I'm going to replay that. I will replay that again, because I'm not, for some odd reason, you're not able to, can you hear me? All right, you can hear me, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do again, because you know how it is over here, I'm the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Those who don't know, welcome to it, right? Again, let me get the spiel off because, again, I can't hear any feedback on it, so I had to go on the whims on it, right? They cut the sound again, right? All right, so check this out, y'all. Let me go and get this spill out. Hey, and welcome to the Black Minds News. I'm your host, the Whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds. And this is Black Minds TV. This is the 2019 version. I want to say first and foremost, what's good to my subscribers. I know I kind of cheated you the other day. At least you felt that way. But in actuality, that's not what happened. It's just the simple fact that, again, I'm trying to put out so much because, again, I only got so much time, right? So, again, I want to thank you for you subscribing. And this is you, the reason why I keep doing what I do, because, again, I have love for my people, so I do try to disseminate. Maybe it didn't come out too well because, again, I was a little rusty on my history today, but hopefully that you got that out. I'm giving you a 2-for-1. I know I'm behind a couple of days due to the simple fact that I'm always fighting to get on, whether you believe that or not. You see what's happening right now, right? So it's always what it is. Now, again, let me get the spell out. Those who passerbys, welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Welcome. It's always a grand opening. Go down the aisles, shop, see what you like. Hit that like button, that dislike button, right? You hit that comment section, say, ain't shit. It's all good to me with me and agents. You always do what you do. Ain't giving you no praise, not no 2019. Do what you do, Marks. Anyway, right? So let me go and get this spell. Hello and welcome to the Black Minds News. I'm your host, the Whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Mind. This channel is to report, transmit, communicate, articulate, relate, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, website, or quotes from publication. As I articulate these information, I ask that the creator of the universe be here, heart, mind, soul, and spirit. As a descendant of the greatest people who created the greatest country that they call the United States, as a descendant of that, and those who participate over here, we give honor to our ancestors. Because you know why? The truth don't need no partner. And you know what my motto is? I'm not going to tell you what I heard. I'm going to tell you what I know. Now, again, when I start to put that video out first, it's due to the simple fact that as you see, they don't let me come right out. Back in the background, got some motherfucker in the background doing shit, hacking my motherfucking system, acting like a nigga don't know no better, right? You know, I keep that shit 100 over here. So, I'm going to go ahead and let's get it up and do what I do. So, again, let's put it like this, okay? You know, I always do some international news, right? I will do it when I see something that is fitting, again, for some information that we might just be needing. So, again, you know, a lot of our people, they talk about, you know, going to the continent, right? Yeah, that's a good thing, right? You gotta try to connect with our roots. Again, we may not be as close to the African family as in blood, but we are descendants. So, you know, time we want to go and reconnect and bring that aspect about who we are. Well, they got some new when it comes to the passport, right? So I got this, and let me go ahead and play this for y'all right quick. And we'll come back after that. Let me go ahead and play this first and see how this gonna work. You know how it is over here, man. I have to always fight to do what I gotta do.
It was all joy and celebrations in Kigali, Rwanda, as the first and only 2 copies of the African passport was launched. The single African Union passport, though only diplomatic, ushered in an era of ease of movement in the continent.
The first group of personalities that will be issued, that will have the privilege of having an African passport, as heads of state, the ministers of foreign affairs, and our representatives in Addis Ababa.
Coming when other continental unions like the EU are grappling with the exit of a key partner, the United Kingdom. The single African passport is expected to eliminate restrictions in the continent and boost trade among the 54 countries.
The people who really need it the most are the business people, and of course the press, the media, right? So that you're able to move around the continent without that visa requirement. And the business people, so that they can invest.
But it will take time before ordinary citizens lay their hands on this document.
It's going to take a while. We want to experiment with it ourselves so that any difficulties that there are, any challenges will be addressed before we roll it out to the rest of the populations of the continent.
Meanwhile, the election of a new chairperson of the AU Commission has been postponed to the next summit slated for January 2017. This follows failure of candidates to pull the required 2/3 majority. The current chair, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, holds fort until the next elections. Denis Otieno, Monday Special.
All right, so I'm pretty sure, I think y'all can hear me, right? So you know how it is again. They got me doing this one-man show business, so I'm always over here fighting, trying to get it running for you, right? So let me go ahead and give you the article to that, right? Again, most people probably say, why you feel like you're the most hated show over here? It's not so fact that this, I'm facetious saying I'm better than everybody out here. It's just the fact about you being up on the information that stuff is out here happening. You know, the whole thing about what our people is to keep us blinded. You know, a lot of people who are into the Bible, that was talk about, our people perish for a lack of knowledge, right? Again, the knowledge is about staying up on the game, right? Sometimes you may not understand why I do what I do, and sometimes it may be relevant. Then later on, I'll come back when I talk about things, it'll end up showing that, you know what I'm saying, that I was on key. So again, let me give it to you what it says on here. It says the African Union will unveil the design for a single passport for all Africans this year. You know I'm going to say that again. The African Union will unveil the design for a single passport for all Africans this year. This was done in the courts. This was done today, January 7, 2018, and this is how it reads. Said the path to creating one passport for all Africans will inch one step closer this year. At the 32nd African Union Summit in February, the Commission will present details on the design, production, and insurance of the long-awaited African passport. The head of the continental body, Mosufaki Mohammed, had revealed the unified passport is aimed at easing the free movement of people, spur economic growth, promoting intra-African trade, and eventually creating a continent with seamless borders. The announcement comes in the heels of the AU's launch of a single air market initiative to improve connectivity and a free trade agreement to establish a common market for goods and services. If the heads of the State Assembly adopt the measures in February, it will pave the way for the issuance of African passports in accordance with respective national laws and regulations. The move is likely to be a windfall for citizens of African states who hold some of the least powerful passports in the world. Movement within their own continent is hard for Africans too. Only in Benin and offer visa-free travels to all African travelers. And even as visa regimes get relaxed, travelers from nations like South Sudan and Burundi need visas to go to 48 to 47 African countries respectively. First introduced in 2016, the African passport is still exclusive to heads of states and other diplomats, with Chadian leaders Idris Deby and Rwanda President Paul Kagame being the first recipients. Immigration experts from member states, however, met last July in Nairobi to deliberate on the document's technical specifications, security features, and how best to enroll it across the AU's 55 states. Skeptics point out the move will be challenging, with many African states already resistant to migrants and refugees, and some have been quietly tightening their visa rules. Faki, however, stated that the AU will push for more integration, saying the persisting obstacles to our citizen movement within their own continent are simply unacceptable. Okay? And that what you have there, you talking about the African unions to unveil designs for a single passport for all Africans this year. Right? Okay, so again, let me see it out there. Let me see how I'm sounding out there, because I might not be sounding anything. All right, so let's see what I got going out there. Anybody out in the house? I got nothing but strangers in the house. No fam in the house. No fam in the house. Nobody to tell me what's everything good and copacetic on the mic. None? All right. So again, what we have is about Africa designing a passport that would actually just be one passport for the whole continent, right? So there'll be a borderless Africa. Who benefits from that? You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Who would benefit from the simple fact of a borderless Africa? So just now it's just Africa, right? It's just like that whole, net just covering the whole continent, and everybody just one happy people, when we know that is, not in reality, because again, you have different tribes and different dialects and tongues, right? And so there might be some differences. Again, maybe I'm not being heard. Let me see. I see people walking up out of here. Hold on, y'all. Let me check and see something again. I'm the most hated show in the black corner of the internet, right? So let me see what's going on over here. Okay, yeah, okay, so you can't be heard. Okay, so again, those who go into the continent, again, they're changing up ways, again, due to all the money and aspects and people, behind the scenes are manipulating, controlling. Is this one aspect of it again? Borderless, one pass. So then what happens to those who don't have it, and then you get caught? You know what I'm saying? Again, you always know if they give you one hand, they hide in the other hand. So again, as more of this story develops, we will definitely be bringing more information about that. But right now, it was brought today. Again, that something had already been talked about over a year ago. Now they say they're finally going to reveal it. So it's just a matter of time. Again, we'll go from there. And again, I want to tell everybody, when I do those little short shows, sometimes I won't be doing this interaction like that. So don't be taking offense to it. It's not because it's you. I was doing some makeup work. Again, remember, last show I came up was the day after New Year. I didn't get to do New Year's, right? So I had to do the second or the third. I think the third and the fourth, right? And then I couldn't come on for the other few days. I told y'all, when I don't come back on, it ain't because I'm not trying to. As you see, I'm always working, trying to get on, because that's what they doing over here, right? So let me go and get on to the next part of the show. What I got next? All right, so let's say this here. What I got here? All right, so again, this, situation here, right? A little sister, I guess she's a sister. I would give her that. And, she had been incarcerated due to, unforeseen occurrences that took place, right? She was, in a situation where she had to defend herself, and she took it to her hand because it was a mano a mano situation. It was your life versus my life, right? And based on the simple fact of what I transpired in that case, she ended up getting the other part of that and not getting a defense. So she ended up having to do a bid. And so today, it came out that there's going to be something. So let me play this first, and then we'll come back. Let me go ahead and play this, and we'll be right back.
Hero accuses Trump of
All right, so again, as you seen right before your damn eyes, they do this shit every time. What is this full of shit? You know what I'm saying? It's funny as hell how a motherfucker that swear down they real and, you know, they authentic. They real people, right? But they don't like true. They like keeping you ignorant and not knowing. And then you do a little sneaky ass shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do. I mean, it's funny shit to me. You just really show who it is. Because, see, I videotape all this. It ain't what you getting. It's what I'm videotaping. Right? That's funny. It's funny. It's this funny shit. It's funny how y'all operate. But then y'all look at yourself in the mirror talking about what great you is. And what you fooling yourself. You fooling yourself. You know what it boils down to? You know you ain't about too much. You know what it is, right? You know what it come to. So again, you know, I have to do what I do, y'all. Again, like I said, you don't see, you can't see. So they want to show the rag so that you go away, right?
Exploration. China's lunar rover touched down last night
afraid
on the far side of the moon.
People knowing what they're supposed to know.
Landing on the far side.
So I'm gonna do this. Hold on.
Earliest pictures now coming.
Look at all this, man. It's crazy, man. It's just really crazy. I laugh at this shit, man. I really laugh at y'all because y'all funny to me. You real funny to me. Y'all real funny to me, man. Y'all real funny.
This morning, the arrest of two men, 20-year-old.
I'm gonna still get it off, regardless. Regardless.
Murder of 7-year-old Jazmine Barnes.
You showing your hand. You showing your hands, Chief. Keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? I really laugh at y'all because y'all funny to me. Real funny to me. Real funny. It's okay. I'll just do it like this and still get it off.
For the first time, we are hearing Eric Black Jr.'s side of the story in the shooting death of a 7-year-old girl.
Look,
he was in court this morning.
You sit there, you do that. That's how you get your. That's how you get off.
Tragic case.
Ain't that something? Because you know, in the hearts of hearts, we know who you really are. Just like you know who we really are. Like today. See that video I did today, y'all? Did you see that today? So I'm gonna expose that, man. I'm gonna break that all the way down. And I was a little rusty today because I kind of, you know, was. But I'm gonna get it, and it's gonna be what it's supposed to. So you keep on doing all your little weakness, boy. That don't bother me at all. Huh? That's what you do, man. That's what you gotta do. Cause you weak. You a weak individual, man. Cats is weak, man. You funny. That's funny to us, man. Don't you know that? You funny to us. I never had, let me tell you, I hoop, right? I ain't never had to worry about a nigga that I know that couldn't play against me, which I ain't met too many motherfuckers could do that. That nigga, like, hold on, I ain't got to worry about you, dude. I ain't got to go out my way because I know you ain't got none. But when you go out your way, that's telling me you about me, right? So you go ahead and keep doing it. Make you feel good, don't it? Make you feel good? I know you weak. That's just the bottom line. I knows you're weak. Yo, funny style, man. Come on, let's go. Watch that. I'm just creating a whole new show right here. I'm gonna just go on here and do it. And do it while we just right here talking. Then go on, pull your move again. That's what you do. This cat's is straight weak, man. Need bombs, guns, and tanks. All that you need in order, because you know what the truth of the matter is, don't you? You know what it is, man. Like sitting in the cut and stuff, and then you like with a whole bunch of numbers. You see, you got to self-promote yourself to be what you think you are, but in actuality, you're not. Now check this out. I'm gonna go off the motherfucking freestyle, nigga. That's how I'm going to do it. How about that? So I ain't even going to do that. I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to do it and make it worse for you. How about this? How about this? Check this out, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. Let's go on this way. Come on. Let's do it in front of everybody. That's what you do. I'm going to make you do it in front of everybody. Come on, go on here. Let's do it. Come on. Come on. Let's go and do it in front of everybody. I'm going to just read it all off. I ain't got to do that. I'm just going to read it off. How about that? You ready? You ready, Mr. Agent? You ready? You ready? All right, let's get it. Come on. Let's get it now. Let's get it. Clemency granted to women convicted of murder as a teen, right? And on your screen it says Tennessee governor grants clemency to Cyntoia Brown. You know I'm going to say that again. Tennessee governor grants clemency to Cyntoia Brown, right? This story was done at CBS News. It was done today, January 7, 2019. And this is how it reads. Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam has granted clemency to Cyntoia Brown, a 30-year-old woman serving a life sentence for murder, who says she was a victim of sex trafficking. The outgoing Republican governor, whose term ends in just 2 weeks, said he will show mercy by releasing her on August 7th. She remained on parole supervision for 10 years on the condition she does not violate any state or federal laws, as well as hold a job and participate in regular counseling sessions. Cyntoia Brown committed by her own admission a horrific crime at the age of 16, yet imposing a life sentence on the juvenile that would require her to serve at least 51 years before even being eligible for parole. Consideration is too harsh, especially in light of the extraordinary steps Ms. Brown has taken to rebuild her life, Haslam said in his statement. Brown issued a statement expressing thanks to Haslam, her family, and the legal team. I am thankful to my lawyers and their staff and all the others who for the last decade have freely given of their time and expertise to help me to get to this day. Brown said, with God's help, I am committed to live the rest of my life helping others, especially young people. My hope is to help other young girls avoid ending up where I have been. Brown's case has attracted national attention from criminal justice reform advocates, and attention has amped up as Salam's second and final term entered its final weeks. Celebrities like Kim Kardashian West and singer Rihanna threw their support behind the fight for her release. The governor's office was inundated with thousands of phone calls and emails from supporters. Kardashian West applauded the news on Tuesday or Twitter shortly after the announcement. Brown was convicted in 2006 of a murder of 43-year-old Nashville real estate agent Johnny Allen 2 years before. Police said she shot Allen in the back of the head at close range with a loaded gun she brought to rob him after he picked her up at a drive-in in Nashville. However, according to her lawyers, Brown was a victim of sex trafficking who not only feared for her life but also lacked the mental state to be culpable in the slaying because she was impaired by her mother's alcohol use while she was in the womb. The United States Supreme Court has ruled against life without parole sentence for juveniles. However, the state of Tennessee argued successfully in the lower court that it was not in violation of federal law because Brown did have a possibility for parole. She was sentenced to serve at least 51 years of her life sentence. During her time in prison, Brown completed her GED and took college courses. She is currently one course away from finishing a bachelor's degree at Lipscomb University. Nashville Mayor David Brilley praised Haslam's decision, calling it a great day for social justice and our city. Democrat State Sen Ramesh Akbari said the clemency announcement showed that Tennessee can show love, compassion, and mercy for people who have experienced trauma. To date, Haslam has granted 5 commutations, 15 pardons, and 1 exoneration. The Republican said he is continuing to review and consider additional clemency's request. All right, so we see Cyntoia Brown is getting the second chance at life due to the circumstances of trying to give her life as a juvenile, which I think that was kind of crazy, like you can't be rehabilitated Yes, you did something against somebody like was taken, but we have to evaluate the situation. And somehow they end up finding her being guilty. A lot of people, again, later on, as the story got out, a lot of people, celebrities with a lot of people power, and got people to get out and push the issue. And we seeing that, again, this sister may have a second chance at doing some good things in life, getting a second chance. And again, on this show here, we giving some attention to that. And again, we know how that justice system can be when you part of the DOS, right? We know that it's just us most of the time when we in there. We don't have to be too guilty. But the point is the fact that you are found guilty. Again, we did a show again talking about guilty before innocent, right? Kind of like over here right now, right? You over here, I'm guilty because of what I'm trying to do, right? It's just be informative of news. And isn't that funny that black folks can't have a news source that is indifference to the way you purport how what you want to purport. So if we purport in a way that would be like what you don't like, then you go and do all these things behind the scenes. That tells a lot about you. I keep telling you, man, you know when you leave here, you got to go by yourself. You don't get to go as no group. It ain't all that you doing with that. You got to be on your own, chief, or chiefette, whoever you might be, right? So remember them words that I'm telling you. Remember them words. So we're going to move on. So let's say a lot of people right now was like, well, you know, they kind of like the government shutting down. So people kind of like, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what's going on, man. You know what I'm saying? You got people who working for the government, right? And they not getting paid. So if the government shut down, they not getting paid. People who getting so-called, let's say, public assistance and stuff, they not getting it. So what about you when it comes to getting your income tax? It's right around the corner, ain't it? They about to be setting that out. I think about the 26th, about, you know, somewhere about that 26th, the end of January, 1st of February, somewhere around there. So ain't you kind of like worried about, wait, hold on, wait a minute. Now, there's some people who tabulate their income tax money. Again, think about for the first, 3-4 months out the beginning of the year, that's basically all their money, and then you get the rest of the year. Maybe it could be 6, sometimes 5 to 6, right? So here it is now. It's time for you to get your pay. But again, somebody holding everybody hostage because, again, the promise that he made, he said somebody else was going to do what he wanted to do. But again, that was cannon fodder. That was you know what I'm saying, that was just more speak than it was about what could really be done. And so now you're going to hold the government hostage and say that, well, if you don't do what I do, again, because they want us to play for the bill. Now, again, you know, of course you don't want to sleep with your doors wide open and let people run up in there. But again, hey, you said it was going to be something else, right? So, well, I found this information for those who might be a little concerned, right? You might be a little concerned, like, man, hold on, man. I ain't about to get my check. Well, as a blow your mind found this, and maybe it may not happen to you. So let's see what they say. Let's see if I can get the play. Let's see if I can get the play. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Is anything can happen with that? Okay, let's see what can happen. Wow, I mean, y'all really going out your way. Well, you can't do that. Check this out. Here we go. Check it out, y'all. 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
Acting director of the White House Budget Office says that tax refunds will be sent out despite the government shutdown. Right now, the government shutdown is in day 17, and it's now the 3rd longest shutdown in U.S. history. Tomorrow, it will be tied for 2nd and could even break the record if no deal is reached by Saturday. Let's get to Christina Partonevelos joining us live from Washington with more on this breaking news. Christina?
Yeah, we actually have some news coming from the vice president right now. Vice President Mike Pence will be coming here to Capitol Hill to meet with lawmakers. But in other news, too, that we're getting, he's saying that tomorrow the president will address the nation at 9 p.m. Eastern time. In that address, he will say that the border security is a humanitarian and security crisis. So that's part alluding to what the speech will be about. They also said that the White House at this moment is taking the steps to mitigate the effect of the government shutdown. We know that has has affected more than 800,000 jobs across the country. Mike Pence, the vice president, has also invited Democrats to come back to the White House for a third time so they can discuss this shutdown. And the latest news, too, saying that the White House is looking at the legality of declaring a national emergency over the border wall. This all just breaking within the past less than 10 minutes ago. So we're hearing a lot of news coming from the White House, and we know that it has affected the nation. There's been all kinds of headlines stating that many people have been calling out sick, especially within the TSA. But I'd like to point out that some of those headlines can be misleading because we don't know what the average sick rate is at a lot of these venues, a lot of these airports. For example, just on Sunday, we had the PR person from the TSA, Michael Balilo. He tweeted out stating that overall they've seen the wait time is about 30 minutes. So I'm paraphrasing right now, but you're seeing the tweet hopefully on your screen right now. Paraphrasing that things are still running smoothly. There's been no major delays and that everybody is in still full operation. So again, be wary when you see some of those headlines across the screen. The government shutdown, though, seems to continue with neither side having an exit strategy. So earlier today, we did have the Democratic Chuck Schumer arguing that the wall was never a good idea to begin with in the first place. Listen to his comments.
The president couldn't pass his wall when the Republicans controlled the House and the Senate because they knew it was a bad idea. And now he's creating a shutdown, even though in the election, he certainly was repudiated in the House and doesn't control it anymore.
And that's the exact complete opposite view that we're getting from Senator John Cornyn, who was on Fox News just an hour ago. Listen in.
But, you know, this is an entirely contrived and phony crisis right now. And by that, I mean the political crisis here in Washington, where Ms. Pelosi and Senator Schumer simply want to beat President Trump. They want to deny him what he's asking for, and they want the political benefit among their base for having done so.
The Democrats have alluded to offering individual spending packages right now, spending bills so they can reopen the IRS as well as the Treasury. And like you mentioned, Susan, to provide tax refunds. But the White House has said they do not want a piece-by-piece reopening. They want the entire government to reopen, and that means funding the border wall. However, the president has been a little bit more flexible, stating that it doesn't necessarily need to be concrete. It could be steel right now. He is heading to McAllen, Texas on Thursday to literally get to the borderline and meet with officials. All of this going on, lots of news coming from Capitol Hill, even though Congress right now is out of session and they will be resuming tomorrow. So the shutdown continues. Susan?
Day 17 and counting. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we see that they're talking about, again, for those who might be a little bit worried about whether you're not going to get your income tax check. You know, black people count. We count every penny down to the room to the tune, right? We know we need our money, right? So you definitely know there's some people who are kind of thinking about that, right? So, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and give you the article with it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we reads over here. You know what I'm saying? We reads over here, right? That's why they don't like the fact that a nigga can read, huh? Shit, nigga. IRS will pay tax refunds during shutdown, easing pressure for a deal. You know I'm going to say that again. IRS will pay tax refunds during shutdown, easing pressure for a deal. This story was done in Bloomberg. Today's date, January the 7th, 2019. This is how it reads. The Internal Revenue Service will issue refunds to taxpayers even if the United States government shutdown extends into the filing season, a decision that may reduce political pressure on Congress and President Donald Trump to reach a deal to reopen the federal government. Tax refunds will go out. The acting director of the White House Office of Management and Budget, Russell Vought, told reporters at a briefing on Monday. In previous shutdown contingency plans, the IRS would accept tax returns during the filing season, but refunds would be delayed until the government was funded. Vought said the administration is fixing what he called a problem faced by past administrations. The decision will come as a relief to many taxpayers who file their taxes as soon as the filing season begins to claim their refund checks, which averaged $2,899 last year. Within the first weeks of the 2018 filing season, more than 18.3 million people claimed about $12.6 billion in refunds. The IRS said Monday evening the filing season, which typically begins at the end of January or early February, would start of January 28 this year. Policy change also removes a major political incentive for lawmakers and the White House to reach a deal in the coming weeks. If refunds won't be held hostage, the shutdown effects will be felt much less widely, relieving some of the strain on Congress and Trump to resolve the current impasse over money for a wall on the Mexican border. No excruciating pressure. If people weren't able to get refunds, there would be excruciating pressure on lawmakers to cut a deal, said Mark Urbison, a former IRS commissioner. The calls congressional offices are receiving about a wall would morph into inquiries about why families haven't received their refunds, he said. In the past, the IRS has said it couldn't issue refunds during the shutdown based on this interpretation of the Anti-Deficiency Act. The rules govern what types of government work is permissible during a shutdown to protect life and property. However, given the political popularity of allowing refunds to be processed during the shutdown, it's unlikely OMB would challenge the IRS decision. Republicans are under pressure this filing season to show taxpayers how they benefit under the new tax law. GOP leaders acknowledged they had lost the messaging battle about who's benefit from the tax cuts ahead of the midterms elections. But proponents of the law have said people will have more appreciation for it once they see how the overhaul affects them directly. Senator Doug Jones, an Alabama Democrat, said the refund decision was a way for the Republicans to get support for Trump's insistence on border wall funding. It's a band-aid to try to make people feel better about the fact that the government is not functioning, Jones said. Updates with filing season starts date and fourth paragraph. All right, so again, looks like, had a little message in there, right? It said, well, you'll be able to file, right? See, always what the Indians tell us? White man speak up with a forked tongue. They speak up with a forked tongue. He don't speak straight. He say one thing and mean something else. So he letting you know, okay, yeah, you can file for your taxes. But there's another little slant in there. Did you catch it? Well, if they're going to put the funding in it to get it. So what good is it to file if you still going to hold the fact of the funding? So is it really from, let me see how I look at it. So you telling me that you're going to hold the people's money who is already their money, going to hold it hostage and make them, because they need their money. We ain't going to talk about them, that 1%. We ain't talking about the people who making, we talking about the people who need their cash, right? Well, around this kind of season, you know, saying all the furniture commercial, I guess they done told them don't do all that, because have you know, you ain't seen all that, right? You can buy the furniture, get a six-piece set and all this for this amount of money, this, right? You know, you see all that. You obviously they've been telling don't promote that. See, because we're going to hold this money hostage, right? So you going to hold that and make the people hold their money for ransom and for them to agree to, all right, we'll pay for the wall. Just give me my check, right? And yet this is the first time you're supposed to get this tax break so that you can see the so-called increase that a lot of people get, and they're going to come right back and snatch it. Well, I tell you, boy, huh? Y'all some funny-ass people, man. Y'all some funny-ass people. This is, man. Never straight, never square dealing. Always a slant to what you're doing, right? But then you get mad because somebody say something about you. If you don't do the shit, then we can't talk about you. But you keep doing the shit because, again, that is the natural nature of who you is, right? But anyway, so, again, take some of the pressure off some people's mind. Even myself, I think about that too. But like, man, I need that cash. Huh? So you saying you can file, but there's a little catch in there. There's a little clause We got to let the government put the funding in, right? Well, to be continued, right? You know, about another 3 weeks from now, we'll see how that goes, right? So moving on, let me see who out here right quick. Let me see if anybody has, because they pretty much trying to really jam up my show, right? I got a couple people in the house. Got Angela Barron in the house. Sounds good. Sound is good. All right, Angela Barron. What's good, sister? Ain't seen you in a minute. Numsi, fuck you. You back, huh? Esau knows the end is at hand. What's good, sir? Leonard de Yuda. This is not really part of the government. That's right. Leonard de Yuda is a separate pyramid scheme. There you see Leonard, boy, I tell you. If my show gets working, I'm going to have you on the phone, spit that more to us, right? So anyway, good. I'd like to see that y'all out here. Thanks for being here, as usual. Again, I know the other day when I did the show, I know everybody was what was that shit, right? You know, again, I'm behind schedule. They keeping me back. You see, I'm always fighting. Whether people believe it or not, that's up to you. Take it or leave it alone. Moving on to the next part of this thing, what I got up in here. Well, since we talking about the government, right? And you know, people been out here saying some crazy shit, man. They gotta be people that shit. I mean, motherfuckers out here talking like Mr. Blows Your Mind on TV, right? Saying some vulgarities, right? And, you know, it's kind of like, okay, so people say, oh, we can talk like that? Oh, we can get down like that, right? So, you know, it's been spreading a little bit. Well, let me give you a little back. Let me give you this here, right? Because, you know, depending on how old you is, how many presidents you done seen in your lifetime, I ain't never seen nothing like this. You understand? But, you know, it's one thing to be in that position, the way that we've been programmed to look at shit, but you know, I guess this is a new place, this is a new world, and this is just the way it is right now. You speak how you need to speak, and how, again, it's, you know, it's appropriate. You know, some words are just appropriate. You know, some people a little too Christian now. Well, let me tell you, whoever made the words, the word was, and the word was that word that you used was there too, right? You ain't make up nothing that the credit didn't make, so, there's Ecclesiastes 4:1 is a point in time for everything, ain't it, right? You seen Jesus so-called flipping over tables. What you talking about? Come on, guys, don't do this in my house. Or did he say some words that they just didn't put in there? That's your choice. You depend on what you want to say. That's up to you. But check this out. This was this cat and what he said. See if we can get it to play. Be right back.
Somebody said, well, what would you do? What can you do? So easy. I drop a 25% tax on China. And you know, I said to somebody that is really the messenger. The messenger is important. I could have one man say, we're going to tax you 25%. And I could say another, listen, you motherfuckers, we're going to tax you 25%. Now, you said the same exact thing. You said the same exact thing, but it's a different messenger.
All right? Hey, it's the same way you can say it politically correct and get the same message. I can say it straight up and get the same message. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad. With Pac, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Huh? Everybody look politically correct. You say, man, the man is supposed to be political. It is supposed to be a profession and so forth. All right. But don't act like, okay, when you ain't at the job, like, okay, let's say you should be a cashier or customer service, right? You ain't going to talk that way with the customer, and the customer be saying all kind of craziness. Okay, sir. But in your mind, huh? You tell them up straight what you feeling like, right? Because sometimes it's just appropriate. Now, again, I'm not condoning about what he's saying. I'm just saying for myself. I will throw it out there. You understand? It'll be said. Now, again, I know everybody trying to get on this politically PC correct. Again, you want to control all that, but we're doing all kind of other crazy stuff in the background. So what is kind of the surface clean, right? I come to your house, it look clean, but you ain't didn't put the dishes in the oven. You got clothes and shit up under the damn sofa, right? You hiding that shit, got old ass Chinese food hiding behind a picture, no, right? But That's how they acting like, you know what I'm saying? But in actuality, the house dirty in the motherfucker, you just nasty in the mug, right? That's who you really is. But you, again, put the front on. So again, a lot of people took to offense to that, right? It was like, man, you know, you shouldn't be talking like that, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, that's not appropriate for a person of your position and your caliber, right? So what happened? Well, let me see if I got some. I don't even know if I even pulled that up. I'm just going to put it to you straight. So again, they said the former prime minister calls Trump motherfucker. You know I'm going to say that again. Former prime minister calls Trump motherfucker. This is in Newsweek done today, January the 7th, 2019. And this is how it reads. It says the former Canadian prime minister has sparked a debate about diplomatic language after she described President Trump as a motherfucker in a tweet. Kim Campbell, who was Canada's head of government in 1993, reacted strongly on social media to Trump being asked by a reporter what safety net there was for the workers who would not be paid due to a partial shutdown by the government. When Trump said the safety net would be the physical southern border wall with Mexico, Campbell tweeted Saturday, "He really is a motherfucker." Campbell made history as the first female prime minister of Canada after being elected as leader of the Progressive Conservative Party in 1993, replacing Brian Mulroney. However, she lost the general election 4 months later. She has been an outspoken critic of Trump, describing him as a sexual predator after recording of the notorious "grab him by the pussy" remark emerged during the 2016 presidential election campaign. Campbell has also described his views on women as retrograde. However, her most recent comment on the president, which was retweeted 2,000 times before being deleted, was not universally popular. Dean Del Mastro, who was ex-Prime Minister Stephen Harper's parliamentary secretary, said the tweet was simply unacceptable. An editor by the Toronto Sun said that the former leader should continue to act as informal ambassador to the country. It's unacceptable for any public figure to call any other public figure that phrase, let alone former Prime Minister of Canada hurling it at an American president. A perusal of Campbell's social media feed suggests she spent a significant deal of time operating within an anti-Trump echo chamber, but it's unseemly for a former prime minister to add fuel to the partisan hysteric occurring south of the border. Campbell isn't some random Twitter troll, the paper said. Campbell later tweeted that her message referred to the comment by Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who used the explicit in reference to Trump at a meeting of advocacy groups meeting Move On. On Thursday, when she was sworn into Congress, Tlaib told the crowd, "And when your son look at you and say, 'Mama, look, you won. Bullies don't win,' and I say, 'Baby, they don't.' Because..." Hold on. Because we're going to go in there and we're going to impeach the motherfucker. Trump told reporters that Taylor's comments was disgraceful and that they were a great dishonor to her and to her family. Meanwhile, footage emerged at the weekend of Trump lambasting Chinese trade policies in 2011, starting about Beijing. "Listen, you motherfuckers, we're going to tax you 25%, as you already seen in the video." Now, that's a good thing about the news. I get to say this is what it was in the report, right? I ain't over here just throwing all kinds of, but, well, you know, once in a while, you know, they get me going. I get it going. Well, you know, I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, the reason why I thought that, because I thought about somebody. I thought about one of our ancestors who passed a couple years ago. Those who've been on my show long enough, you know, I did a little tribute to her. And if you ever read the ISIS paper, right? You know, on that page about 121, to talk about the word motherfucker, right? Right. So let me go ahead and read a little quote from out of there. It says this, about the second paragraph from the start. It says, "However, at present the term baby is a fully accepted appellation for black males in reference to one another. It is thus not uncommon to hear one black male say to another, 'Hey baby, what's happening?' And in addition to black males frequently referring to one another as baby, many black females often refer to their black male peers and companions as baby, while black adult females refer to black adult males as, you get it, baby. Black adults males often refer to black adult female peers and companions as mama, often expecting those mamas to provide food, clothes, and shelter for them. It is not uncommon to hear, "Hey mama, can I ride with you?" Further, black adults males also refer to the place where they sleep as a crib. The brain thus computes adults who refer to another adult as the man, meaning the only man, to himself as baby, to the woman that he sleeps with as mama, and to the place where he sleep is a crib, will call himself or another black male reflection of himself a motherfucker. Thus it is clear that the origin of the specific patterns of speech began with the perhaps unconscious recognition that within the framework of the white supremacy power system and its reflecting culture, power rests only in the hands of whites, more specifically in the hands of white males. And relative to the white male, the black male is powerless baby. All babies everywhere are powerless compared to the adult male or men. Motherfucker is therefore a pronoun or a profound political statement. Wait, hold on, got a little bit more. As it addresses itself and to an existing and specific set of power relationships, namely the white man continued dominance over the black male. It is the confrontation with the stated fact of its social and functional powerlessness in the total context of the white supremacy system that causes one black male to exploitably challenge and fight another black male when called motherfucker. When the proper negative vocal intonations, this is true because black males are totally uncomfortable with the reality of their relative powerlessness compared to white males, even though this awareness of powerlessness is more often unconsciously repressive that consciously dealt with the black male psyche. Now, Mr. Blowman, why did you read that? And maybe I haven't read the ISIS paper. Well, again, our great ancestor, Francis Cress Welsing, wrote the ISIS paper. For those who don't know, I would suggest go read that book. And what she was breaking down is then that in white supremacy, motherfuckers going, again, it's a dominant stance, right? The white man. The rest of you is nothing but babies, and I am the only man in here. So when he said that to China, right, he was, he was exerting his white supremacy dominance because, again, I think they got the recognition by the 70s being white, right? Asians became kind of like Hispanics in America get classified being white. They got they white, right? So he was just showing his little dominance, right? But then right after that, check this out. This is what China did. China's like, oh, really? Oh, you want a special wonton soup, huh? Check this out, right? Now watch what they did, right? Now, some of y'all might have seen this. I'm going to give you the back to this, right? I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you number two, right? So we're going to show you how they responded, right? So we're going to see, right? Remember what motherfucker is, right? All right, so check this out. Let's see how we do it and get back and come right back. Let's see how it's going to play.
Human space exploration. China's lunar rover touched down last night on the far side of the moon, the first ever soft landing on the far side. And these are the earliest pictures now coming in from the rover, an up-close look that we have never seen before, and a monumental advancement for the Chinese. Here to tell us more about this historic landing and what it could mean, Ryan Hicks joining us. So what details do we have about the landing?
Jennifer, Chinese state media are reporting that the landing happened at around 10:26 in the morning Beijing time. The landing happened on the far side of the moon. Now, this part of the moon is sometimes mistakenly referred to as the dark side, but it actually receives as much sunlight as the Earth. This part of the moon is facing away from the Earth, and because of this position, it has been unexplored and hard to get to. The Chang'e 4 has a lander and a rover and touched down near the moon's south pole. Here again are some of those first pictures coming from the probe, where we can see a small crater and a barren surface. This is historic because we're seeing the first ever close range image of the far side of the moon. Let's hear a bit more about why this landing is so significant.
Our side of the moon is so meaningful. It has so many resources, and also we can have a better understanding of the formation and evolution of the moon in the future. So in the future, I believe, that the China Lunar Exploration Project have 3 steps: orbiting, landing, and also sample reason.
And Ryan, in the even bigger picture here, it seems this is more than just space exploration, but China looking to become a major power.
Yeah, this is as much about geopolitics as it is about space exploration and science. China has space ambitions. Its space program is growing. It's trying to catch up to Russia and the United States. So today's landing is a milestone, and this is causing some unease in the United States. President Donald Trump and the U.S. Defense Department believe China has bad intentions. China says its motives are peaceful. In response to the new competition, President Trump announced the creation of a space force by 2020, a 6th branch of the military. That coincides with Beijing's plans to start building its own manned space station next year. So what we're seeing is a space race between 2 of the world's superpowers playing out above all of us as we speak.
Thanks, Ryan. Pretty fascinating.
You're welcome.
Seems to be flexing its muscle. Apparently they have a new weapon, and it's not just any weapon. This is a bomb, and apparently among the most powerful non-nuclear weapons that they have ever displayed. What's interesting about this story is that when we talk about China, it's not usually a country that does public displays of bluster like this. So we decided we wanted to look at this a little bit more. We want to find out more about this. RT correspondent Sarah Montes de Oca is joining me now to bring us the latest. She's been drilling down on this throughout the day. Sarah, let me start with this weapon itself. What is it?
So, Rick, China's arm industry giant Norinco showcased this bomb for the first time. It's a Chinese version of the mother of all bombs. Now, the bomb, whose strength is only a second to that of a nuclear weapon, was dropped by a Chinese H-6K bomber. Now, the bomb, it was dropped, we can see on screen right now, it was dropped in an unspecified location. We know it caused a gigantic explosion with fire and smoke, very heavy. To put this into perspective, back in 2017, Trump, who also dubbed the mother of all bombs, dropped that bomb in Afghanistan. If you remember East Afghanistan, this was back in 2017. But Beijing-based military analyst Wei Dongshu said that the Chinese bomb is calculated to be 5 to 6 meters long and weighs a lot less than that of the American bomb. So he said, quote, the massive blast can easily and completely wipe out fortified ground targets such as reinforced buildings, bastions, and defense shelters. Now, the American version requires a cargo plane to drop this kind of bomb. So this just to put it into perspective as far as the weight, while the Chinese can drop this bomb off of their normal carrier aircraft.
Sounds like quite a weapon, and I'm sure if they fired it, even if they did not disclose their location, given our intel apparatus in this country, we know exactly what it is. We know exactly where it was done, and so do the Russians, and so does so do the Brits, and so do the Israelis. But I want to ask you this. When I think of Russia, and I think I mentioned this a little while ago, you don't think of them publicly displaying their wares like this. What's going on? Why are they doing this?
Well, you may not think of China having done this before, but in November, they had an international air show expo where they really flexed a lot of military power. They specifically did it with their weapons, this new LW-30 specific laser weapon that they want to buy or to sell these products into the international arms market. So they want to take part of this, and they're building up the technology to be able to do so. I mean, an observer of advanced weaponry told China that every military power in the world has been striving to develop these laser weapons. And this LW-30, for example, which they showed, has a precision to do something like that. And you could see why the Chinese are very excited and think that these will fly off the shelves if they are put into the arms market.
Well, I would be remiss if I don't ask you about the fact that there might be a tie-in, or let me ask it this way. Is there a possible tie to this and the trade war going on with Mr. Trump?
Well, it seems to be pretty timely, right? I mean,
Right.
Perfect timing for this. Pentagon is now urging America's Pacific allies to increase presence in the South China Sea. So the experts are warning that we could be heading into a military war, actual full-on war with China. But it's interesting because next week, and we just heard today that the U.S. and China are scheduled to be able to continue these talks, these trade talks. But I mean, there's a lot that goes into the trade talks, like intellectual property theft and certain things that haven't not yet been addressed by China that the Trump administration is pushing for. And they haven't talked since the G20 summit, so this will be the first since that temporary 90-day truce.
Sarah Montes de Oca, as usual, good job. Thank you so much for bringing us that report.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.
All right. So, what you're seeing is, yeah, I'm going to go on to the motherfucker that may say motherfucker. The other one is a baby, right? So I guess the Chinese was like, men will understand what I'm saying on this, right? Go to the urinal. Now, again, I don't be doing this shit, right? Well, motherfuckers do that shit, right? So you at the urinal. So here's Trump peeking over at China in the urinal. And he said, well, you want to see, huh? You want to see? So they go and they get up on space. Oh, you think you just a man, huh? What about this one? We got a Moab too. We got a mother of all bombs too, huh? Did you hear the white man? He was like, oh, well, okay, well they got one, but with our intel, we would know if they were good to do it. We got Britain, Israeli. He's saying all this, right? A little nervous. Somebody pulled out one too. Huh? Thought you was the only one in huh? They flexing. What? See, you've been talking that, but see, they about it right now. They showing they flexing all over. They like, we bout that. What y'all got? What y'all talking about? We know y'all hand. So the status is changing, right? He said he couldn't even understand it. Why is China flexing like that? Okay. Because new man is rising, right? Yeah, you calling and you saying all these things, but them motherfuckers putting their shit together and they saying, you know what I'm saying? What it look like. I actually had an article to that, but that was self-explanatory. Ain't nothing else need to be said. You seen it? They said, man, we got the MOB or the MOAB, Moab. Now Moab, ain't that something? Ain't Moab? Ain't more? Ain't that got something to do with more? Moab ain't Moab. Didn't they come out in Moab? Didn't the Moors come out of the Moabs? According to how that whole story coming out of that whole. I ain't gonna get into that, but anyway, right? So why they want to say Moab, right? Always on some bull, right? So anyway, they flexing. Right? So he said, you looked in the urinal, I'll show you what I got. You should have been looking over here. Now you see what I got. I went on the other side of the moon. You over there? Matter of fact, he said, we did the same thing you did. We ain't went nowhere because you ain't see no Chinese, put no Chinese flag on the moon. You seen something kind of a CGI, I think they got some kind of reacting or reenactment of a fake space with the thing going down. Ain't nobody with no damn moon. Stop that shit. I keep saw some crater and some ground. Motherfucker, by now, like I told you, where's the McDonald's and shit in that motherfucker? So we know that's correct. That shit, y'all full of shit. You know that shit ain't nobody up there. You might be able to send that, and again, you ain't in no damn moon. Ain't no need to talk about that shit no more. Stop it. You niggas ain't been no goddamn where. Might got them bombs, but you ain't been in no damn moon. You might believe that shit, you crazy. Anyway, moving on. Again, motherfuckers having a problem with President Donald Trump, right? So I seen this story. I was like, well, I guess he would be saying something because, he get down like that. From what we know, he like him some dark meat, right? This guy here, he like him some dark meat. So let me go ahead and show who I'm talking about. We be right back. Let me go and see if I can cue it up. And let's get it.
De Niro accuses Trump of being a real racist. Actor Robert De Niro is accusing President Trump. Donald John Trump-Conway's husband rips Trump for saying Tlaib dishonored herself with profane call for impeachment. Trump says he's pushing for steel barrier instead of concrete wall amid standoff with Dems. Trump supporter eyes moving factory to Mexico over tariffs. More of being a real racist and a white supremacist. The actor, who has become a vocal critic of the president, made the comments in a new interview with The Guardian, telling the newspaper that his outspoken opposition to Trump comes from being upset about what's going on. When you see someone like Trump becoming president, I thought, well, okay, let's see what he does. Maybe he'll change, De Niro said in the interview, which was published on Sunday. But he just got worse. It showed me that he is a real racist. I thought maybe as a New Yorker he understands the diversity in the city, but he's as bad as I thought he was before, and much worse. It's a shame. It's a bad thing in this country. Asked if he considered Trump to be a white supremacist, De Niro responded, yes. He added that he was naive about former President Obama's multiple election wins and what it reflected about American society. I felt we were on a new thing. I didn't realize how against him certain people were, racially against him, offended that he was there, De Niro said. De Niro also voiced concern about Trump's brand of politics and how that may be exploited in the future. What bothers me is that there will be people in the future who see him as an example and they'll be affected in some way, but they'll be a lot smarter and have many more colors to their personality and be more mercurial and become someone with the same values as he has but able to get much further and do more damage as a despot, he said. De Niro has repeatedly criticized Trump throughout his presidency. He said F. Trump while speaking on stage at the Tony Awards last June and has called the president baby-in-chief and jerk-off-in-chief, among other things. The Academy Award-winning actor was one of many high-profile Democrats and Trump critics to be targeted with mailed pipe bombs in October. Cesar Sayoc Jr., the man charged with mailing the homemade explosives, pleaded not guilty to all 30 charges against him in New
All right. So there's an article on it, but that article will probably take about 5 minutes to read. Again, that was an article that came into the, it was done in the, like the Guardian, right? So I can show you that I actually was going to show you all that. But I don't want to do 5 minutes on you. I don't want, you know, we just put it out there. Let me go ahead and show you the article. So just let you know I was going and may just do it, right? So I did have it, right? So the fact is that, again, Robert De Niro, again, he like him some black meat, right? So again, you know, we still trying to get something. He gonna definitely have to say that, right? I think he done just divorced that one, right? So, you know, again, you have that split between those who are pro and anti, right? Again, I seen the video the other day where a dude went into the store and trying to purchase something, and he came in with the mega hat on, and the white dude just lost his mind, was screaming, carrying on, and how he just went into this whole tirade, right? Just how he hated this dude because, again, he represents Trump. And again, like I said, it's kind of good, right? They have them like that because, again, as I done said over some time go back, that you gonna have to show what side you was on when it's all said and done. Because, again, sometimes being quiet is just actually being accomplice or complicit to the act. And so you see Robert De Niro saying, man, he's a real racist, you know what I'm saying? He can see observation, how people acting and so forth. That Sayoc dude, this dude that actually trying to make an attempt to kill the president, right? And I didn't do that story yet. But, you know, and so, you know, he's saying the one bad thing is it's kind of like when Obama was president, right? A lot of people took that in the positive. Again, I have my own interpretation about it, but I won't put it down here tonight. But what I'm saying is, A lot of people looked at the fact that by the image that was put into the White House, that those babies who seen that will aspire and try to, aspire to higher and things like that. So Robert De Niro said the same thing is happening here with Donald Trump. That seed that he's planting, that someone is going to take that and they're going to be better at it than he is. I say he's rough around the edges. You know what I'm saying? He's a straight shooter. Some people say it's a straight shooter, right? And is what it is. He wears his heart and hitting the shit on the sleeve, and he do what he do, right? So he's saying that seed that he's planting, subliminal seeds that are being planted out there, is going to raise up certain ones that's going to be a lot more refined, better articulate, same thought, mind, and agenda and all that, but they're going to be better than he is at what the game he playing. And he feel like that's a danger to this country. I myself second that by him saying that, because again, we know that. And all the stuff that's being seen again, every time he comes on, it's always something new, right? And so there's a lot of people who being inspired. And we're talking about young people. So as time goes on, and again, as the demographics change, you understand? So I feel what you're saying, Robert De Niro. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you feel the same way or have your own opinion as to it, right? But that was Robert De Niro saying what it is. Again, I would read that article, but we would be about 10 minutes. That's how long it is. I read it, but it would be about 10 minutes. That's how long it is. It's a real long article. But I read it. So if those, again, you've seen it, if you want to go see for it, go ahead and check it out. Now, what else I got in here? Well, let's see here, right? This here. So again, as we're talking about president, right? We're talking about, the president, and again, people having their opinions as to what side and what his real stance is. And again, I don't think certain people are going to again, it's kind of like when I did the Jamela Hill, right? She said water is wet, right? Water is wet. Is that not true? Is water wet? Well, she said, well, that's all I was referring. I thought everybody knew that, right? So here's Robert De Niro doing the same thing, but I ain't seeing nobody try to take him out of the academy and all this other stuff. But again, you know how it is. We say some things, it's a lot more hurtful. Because again, the position you want to always keep us in, right? So I get that. All right, whatever. But, so again, there's a split going on. Again, there's the pro and anti, right? And so now just recently that the anti-Trump has now got into a position where they are now the majority. And now they got the speaker in the House, right? They got Nancy Pelosi got up in there, right? So now Mother's like, all right, it's our time. We need to make a move to do this. But what's one of the moves they need to do? They said, well, check this out. This is what they want to do first. They want to go after this. Let's see if we can get somebody to pull this up, and let's see if we can get it, and we get it going. Let's see.
The first day of any new Congress usually consists of a mixture of self-congratulation and posturing, perhaps more so when control of a chamber changes hands. Yesterday offered both parties an opportunity to do a little of both, and both parties had rewrites of the Constitution ready to set the tone for the next 2 years. For Democrats, though, the tone for the next 2 years looks like sour grapes over the last 2 years. Rep. Steve Cohen, DTN, a vocal critic of President Trump, on Thursday introduced 2 bills to eliminate the Electoral College and prevent presidents from pardoning themselves or their family members. Cohen introduced the constitutional amendments on the first night of the 116th Congress, both digs at Trump. Let's start with the Electoral College repeal, which has been a rallying cry for progressives ever since election night in 2016, and in some cases, Election night in 2002. The framers of the Constitution used this method to ensure that states had a hand in selecting the chief executive, attempting to assuage concerns that direct election would create an impulse for a central government to trample on their sovereignty. Little did they know that it would happen through the judiciary instead, in decisions like Wickard v. Filburn and others. These days, however, smaller states are more worried about ceding all influence over elections to the most populated states on the coasts. Where exactly would Cohen expect to get 2/3 of states to concede control over presidential elections to California and New York? Even if they magically got 2/3 of the vote in both the House and Senate, it'd be lucky to get ratified in 1/4 of the states, let alone 3/4. The pardon issue might get a little more traction. It deals with an actual issue at hand, not just bitterness over an election loss by a historically inept major party candidate. It's tough in principle to disagree with Cohen's argument, at least in some part. Presidents should not pardon themselves, their families, their administration or campaign staff, Cohen said in a statement. This constitutional amendment would expressly prohibit this and any future president from abusing the pardon power. Only the most pedantic could justify the authority of a president to pardon himself, and then not as a virtue but as the present constitutional reality. The dogma that no man is above the law is deeply ingrained in the American psyche, and the potential authority for any president to do so seems outrageous. So much so that Richard Nixon didn't attempt it, leaving it to Gerald Ford to handle after his departure. It would take a constitutional amendment to erect that boundary, and that might sail through Congress at least if it was only limited to that. The more that boundary narrows, the tougher it will be to get ratified. If Cohen's willing to limit it to the president and family members, it might have a chance, although ratification would likely take too long for it to impact Trump. Widening it out to campaign figures and administration officials won't make it more palatable to those in the House and Senate who have been either or both for other presidential candidates and administrations. Republicans got in on the constitutional rewrite fun too. Senator Ted Cruz and Rep. Francis Rooney, RFL, partnered on a proposal for term limits on Capitol Hill, a GOP priority in the 1994 contract with America that got conveniently discarded, along with lobbying reforms. This proposal might be more virtuous than Cohen's Electoral College repeal but has even less chance of getting endorsed for ratification. Republican Senator Ted Cruz and Republican Rep. Francis Rooney proposed a constitutional amendment on Thursday that would impose term limits on members of both houses of Congress. The amendment, co-sponsored by Senators Marco Rubio, Republican Florida, Mike Lee, Republican Utah, and David Perdue, Republican Georgia, would restrict senators to 2 6-year terms and House members to 3 2-year terms. A similar amendment was proposed by Cruz in January of 2017. For too long, members of Congress have abused their power and ignored the will of the American people, Cruz said. Term limits on members of Congress offer a solution to the brokenness we see in Washington, D.C. It is long past time for Congress to hold itself accountable. I urge my colleagues to submit this constitutional amendment to the states for speedy ratification. Ahem. Do the sponsors of this bill really think they can get 2/3 of their colleagues to vote to impose term limits on themselves? Regardless of the merits of the proposal, it's not going to get adopted from the inside. A term limits amendment, like a balanced budget amendment, would have to originate in an Article V convention and then ratified by the states to bypass Congress. The merits of this idea are debatable, too. For one thing, why not a 12-year cap on the House as in the Senate? Where term limits have been imposed, they have rarely if ever produced a cleaner or more responsive legislature. In California, it shifted institutional knowledge from the legislature to the lobbyists. In Colorado, it produced a partisan swing but no real improvements on the complaints that drove it. The best term limit is still a ballot in the hands of an informed voter. No need to worry, though, none of these are serious efforts. They're tone setters and nothing more.
Democratic Representative Steve Cohen, Tennessee, introduced 2 constitutional amendments Thursday that would eliminate the Electoral College and stop presidents from pardoning themselves. Cohen introduced the bills the same day Democrats took control of the House and Nancy Pelosi retook her position as Speaker. The bills also come as President Donald Trump faces continued pressure from federal investigators looking into Russia's involvement in the 2016 presidential election. Presidents should not pardon themselves, their families, their administration or campaign staff, Cohen said in a statement. This constitutional amendment would expressly prohibit this and any future president from abusing the pardon power. Another bill would get rid of the Electoral College, an archaic system of electing presidents that allowed Trump to win the presidency despite his rival, Hillary Clinton, receiving millions more votes. In 2 presidential elections since 2000, including the most recent one in which Hillary Clinton won 2.8 million more votes than her opponent, the winner of the popular vote did not win the election because of the distorting effect of the outdated Electoral College, Cohen said in his statement. More than a century ago, we amended our Constitution to provide for the direct election of U.S. senators. It is past time to directly elect our president and vice president. As The Hill points out, the amendments are unlikely to move forward since they require a 2/3 vote in both chambers of Congress before being ratified by
All right, so you see that they are actually working on trying to I guess you're gonna have to rewrite the whole Constitution, right? Because I mean, again, go back to thinking about when you was in 8th grade. Hold on. They tried to cut my mic, didn't they? They tried to cut it. Huh? Yeah, what we said was there once again. Congressmen proposed eliminating electoral college, preventing presidents from pardoning themselves. I'm going to say that again. Congressmen proposed eliminating electoral college, preventing presidents from pardoning themselves. This was in CNN, January 5th, 2019. And this is how it reads. Republican Steve Cohen has proposed 2 constitutional amendments. One that would abolish the Electoral College and another that would prohibit presidents from pardoning themselves, their family, members of the administration, or their campaign staff. The Tennessee Democrat who sits on the House Judiciary Committee proposed his amendments Thursday, the first day of the 116th Congress after the Democrat took power of the House in 2017. He introduced articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump. The Constitution provides for both the structures of the Electoral College and presidential pardon powers. Therefore, challenging or changing either of them would require a constitutional amendment rather than a law passed by Congress. Calls to abolish the Electoral College intensified in the aftermath of the 2016 election when former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton won the popular vote but lost the presidency when Trump won the majority of the Electoral College. Similar calls were made in 2000 when former Vice President Al Gore also won the popular vote but lost the Electoral College to George W. Bush. Both losing candidates were Democrats. Pardon power has also come under increased scrutiny in recent months after Trump said he would take to pardoning his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, who faces jail time after pleading guilty to several federal cases or crimes. Off the table, Trump has also said the absolute right to pardon himself. Americans expect and deserve the winner of the popular vote to win office, Cohen said in a statement. More than a century ago, we amend our Constitution to provide for the direct election of U.S. senators and the pastime to directly elect our president and vice president. In order to take effect, both bills would need to be passed by 2/3 of both houses of Congress and to be ratified by 3/4 of the state. The president plays no role in passing Constitution amendments. Well, there you go, y'all. There you go. They trying to make some changes. Again, say by the people, for the people, right? But, you know, some people been holding on for a long time. You know, sometimes somebody could keep squeezing the damn lemon till it gets to nothing. There's no pulp, there's no seed, there's nothing left. And they'll run it to the ground, and only for the self-aggrandizement of whatever they're trying to get. So, you know, there's a change of some people, again, they're trying to do some things, again, political, if that's what your fight is. I guess that's what y'all trying to head to. But again, I understand this game is a lot more deeper than what it looks like and what it appears, right? So as much as you might be trying to do some things, again, sounds good, like a paper tiger. But in practice, in reality, it's going to be a hard uphill battle to get that one out of there. Again, you keep trying, but again, you never know. As time goes on, as demographics change and the minds of people change, maybe they just might see it that way. But right now, as what's his name, C.K. Lewis said, whee, they going to run into the wheel fall off, right? So anyway, let's move on. We're closing on that 2-hour mark. Let me look out in here and see who I got in the house. I got a couple people in the house. I'm glad that y'all still here hanging out with a brother. I got, let's see, what else I here last one I read. Okay, I got the Leonard G. was laughing. Abdul Kabir, Muslim lady, said that. Newsy, fuck you, said United States asked China to make a fentanyl and control substance as part of a negotiation in order for the U.S. to drop percentage of tariff. Really? I have to look for that one, sir. I will carefully look at that one. Moab, right? Right? Kabir, I knew you knew that one, right? Kabir, Moab. No sound? It's still no sound? How long ago was that, Leonard, to you? Still no sound? Give me, somebody hit me with a 1. Let me know I'm still good. Oh, I'm going to have to do my own check then. I know they be hitting me up, man. I got a couple more before y'all, man. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if everything's good. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. Somebody left. All right, somebody broke out. All right. It's all good, hey, for everybody. It's all good. All right. All right, so what I got here, well, you know, I did this story, right, because, again, I kind of held down on the story because, again, when I originally heard the story, I kind of was a little skeptic, right? I'm still a little skeptic because, again, well, let me show you first. Let me do this first because I was a little skeptic. I'm not, again, I give, you know, I'm not saying anything in negative towards the little girl because that should have never have happened to her, right? That shouldn't have happened to her. But again, sometimes, you know, I'm gonna just say this. I'm not gonna connect this to the family or whatever. I'm just saying sometimes, let's say people, you do shit, and you know, old saying is, don't bring that shit home, right? Well, what you doing in the motherfucking streets? Don't bring that shit to the house. Keep that shit out there. And sometimes people do some shit unbeknownst and they get so out of control that the shit come to the house. Again, the old saying that don't invite Dracula to your house, because if you invite him in the house, he's allowed to come in. As long as you don't invite him, he can't come in, right? So I'm just wondering because, again, let me show this first and then I'll see it after the fact. Check this out and then we'll be back.
Arrest of Jazmine Barnes' killer is now up to $100,000. That money has been raised by journalist Sean King, and police have released a sketch of a possible suspect along with the surveillance video of the truck the killer was driving.
He's wanted for shooting the 7-year-old as she rode in her mother's car last Sunday. The little girl's mother was also wounded in the attack. Joining us with more from Houston is Janet Shamlian. Janet, the Harris County Sheriff's Department released the sketch for the suspected killer. How did it come about?
Don and Anne Marie, well, there's only one witness to this crime, and that is Jazmine Barnes' 15-year-old sister, Alexis. So she met with a sketch artist, actually from the Houston Police Department, not Harris County, although Harris County is handling this, yesterday. And they compiled the sketch from her. She said she made eye contact with the gunman, and then they released it late yesterday. What they're really trying to do here, guys, is keep this in the public eye, keep attention focused on looking for this suspect.
Yeah, I remember we had initially heard that maybe he had a beard. It looks more like a 5 o'clock shadow now. So have they been able to generate any new leads at all?
They say that tips are flowing in. It's hard to know if they've received more since the sketch was released because that was just late last night. But they say they are getting a lot of tips in terms of red pickup trucks, although that is a common vehicle here in the Houston area. What it seems to be behind the scenes happening is that they are looking at the VIN numbers and driver's license information, and that's really what they're not willing at this point to go on the record about.
Yeah, the mother described the suspect as being pale with blue eyes. Some are expressing concern that this could be a hate crime. Here's the Barnes family attorney on that.
We've seen a rise in hate crimes. The FBI just released a report about a rise in hate crimes. This particular area of Houston is known for a racial element. And so all of those factors playing together, it says that is a consideration that we should at least take on, but there's no confirmation.
And police say they are considering race as a factor. What more do we know about that angle?
Well, the sheriff said yesterday that he's not going to know a motive until he has a suspect, but that he's considering all motives. Jazmine's mother, LaPortia Washington, told me yesterday she definitely believes it's a hate crime. She said this was an unprovoked attack. She's gone over this 1,000 times in her mind. Did she do something? Did she cut him off? Was there some type of road rage involved? She says no, and in her heart, she was targeted because she's an African-American woman.
So I think that there's one good thing that has come out of this is the tremendous amount of support the family has received. I mean, not just in Texas, but also sort of beyond. But there will be a community rally tomorrow. Can you tell us any more about that?
And again, Anne Marie, what they're trying to do here is keep attention focused on this case. They don't want it to slip from the headlines in the next few days before they have someone in custody. As you mentioned, an outpouring of support. You know, the wide receiver for the Texans, they're playing a playoff game on Saturday. DeAndre Hopkins has pledged his salary to the family to help pay for funeral expenses. Celebrities like Gabrielle Union have come out and tweeted support. And tomorrow's rally is a gathering to raise funds for the family and also to keep this case in the headlines.
All right, Janet, thank you so much.
This morning, the arrest of two men, 20-year-old Eric Black Jr. and 24-year-old Larry Woodruff in the murder of 7-year-old Jazmine Barnes.
Court records say those men shot the car with Jazmine Barnes inside by mistake, thinking it was another vehicle. This is video of one of the suspects, Eric Black Jr., appearing in court just before 5 this morning. We sent you this breaking news alert on your phone around 9:45 last night. ABC 13 reporter Catherine Marchand is live outside the courthouse in downtown Houston. And Catherine, what are we learning about these suspects?
Well, prosecutors say Eric Black was the one driving the suspect vehicle. The other suspect, sources tell us, was Larry Woodruff. He's believed to be the shooter. Black, though, he was the one who appeared in court this morning. Take a listen to what prosecutors had to say.
Sheriff Ed Gonzalez stated that he began directly receiving confidential tips by email from an anonymous source, and that the source identified the suspect who shot the complainant by name and as a black male, referred to by the initials LW. The source stated that LW was in the car with another male identified as EB, later determined to be this defendant.
Now, again, just want to reiterate, Eric Black was identified by name. He's the one who appeared in court. Larry Woodruff, our sources are telling us, was the shooter, but in court today, he was only identified as LW. That source that contacted the sheriff's office said that the two of them shot up Jazmine Mother's car, thinking that it was somebody else's car. Patrol deputies pulled Black over during a routine traffic stop. Homicide investigators interviewed him, and prosecutors say he admitted to taking part in the shooting. He told investigators that the gun was at his house. They found that gun and say it was consistent with shell casings found at the scene. Now, again, that other suspect, he has not appeared in court at this point. We do have a mugshot of him from a previous arrest. The sheriff's office throughout the week has been originally describing their suspect vehicle as a red pickup truck. But in the hearing this morning, prosecutors say Black was driving a dark-colored Kia. The attorney for the Barnes family tweeted this morning saying that the men arrested do not fit the description of even the sketch that the family provided. He said, quote, "It's difficult to understand how at least 4 independent witnesses mistook 2 black male suspects for one older white suspect. However, it is imaginable that witnesses confused a fleeing bystander for the actual shooter." And the Harris County Sheriff's Office at this point does not believe that Jazmine's family did anything malicious. They think they are totally innocent in this matter. They are holding a press conference today at 2 o'clock. We will be there and have the very latest for you. But
For the first time, we are hearing Eric Black Jr.'s side of the story in the shooting death of a 7-year-old girl. He was in court this morning. Prosecutors say that an argument at a club ended in a tragic case of mistaken identity. Good afternoon, I'm Sherman Chow. That all ended in the death of 7-year-old Jazmine Barnes. Matt Doherty live at the courthouse where he has just heard from prosecutors. What else did they tell you, Matt?
Well, Sherman, here's the suspect as he walked into the courtroom today. A big piece of this story was revealed this morning. That's where prosecutors say they think those shots were fired. They say Eric Black and a man referred to as Larry W. had been at a club the night before. Prosecutors say the two men got into a fight with some other guys at the club. Then they got into their car. Now, while they were on the road, prosecutors say the men spotted the vehicle driven by LaPortia Washington that looked similar to the vehicle of the other guys who they'd been fighting earlier. They say the other man with Black began shooting multiple times. Investigators recovered 8 shell casings at the scene. One of those bullets struck little Jazmine Barnes in the head, killing her. Eric Black is being held without bond right now. We asked prosecutors, what about this Larry W. guy? What's happening with him? Will he expect to find some charges coming his way pretty soon? They said they would not comment on that or his possible role in this case. We're going to keep following you this, bringing you live updates later in the afternoon. But for now, we're live from downtown. Standing for Houston, Matt Doherty, KHU 11 News.
Thank you, Matt. A lot of attention and a lot of questions on this one. The funeral for Jazmine Barnes will be held tomorrow at the Community of Faith Church on Pinemont Drive. Visitation begins at 10. The funeral service starts at noon. Volunteers and police.
All right. All right. All right. Questions, right? Got some questions, don't we? Let me get the article first so we even get into that. Let me pull this article up on this right quick. I'll try to give you as much information I can on the situation. So here's the article here. It says what we know about the suspects in Jazmine Barnes' case. You know I'm going to say that again. What we know about the suspects in Jazmine Barnes' case. This was done today, January the 7th, 2019, from Click to Houston. And this is how it says or reads. And look into the criminal history of two suspects connected with the slaying of a 7-year-old Jazmine Barnes. Barnes was in the car with her sister and mother the morning of December the 30th on the Beltway 8 Feeder Road near Wallaceville Road as they were on the way to the store for coffee, according to investigators. A gunman drove up in a vehicle, opened fire on the car, investigators said. Barnes was fatally shot in the head and her mother, LaPortia Washington, was shot in the arm. Before Eric Black Jr., 20, stood before a magistrate, he had no adult criminal record. Person at a home listed as Black's address in court documents declined to comment. Prosecutor said Black admitted to driving a car used during the shooting. Defendant Black stated that LW began firing out of the passenger side of the vehicle. A prosecutor stated during a probable cause hearing. Multiple law enforcement sources, the victim's family attorney, Lee Merritt, and social activist Sean King said LW is 24-year-old Larry Woodruff. He was arrested but has not been charged with Barnes' murder. When he went before a judge, it was on a drug possession charge. Woodruff is accused of having more than 120 Xanax pills. Woodruff is no stranger to the criminal justice system. He has a record for assaulting a family member, evading arrest, drug possession, trespassing, and attempt possession of a firearm by a felon. While not charging Barnes' case, prosecutors asked for a high bond because of his criminal record. He's also, of course, a suspect in a homicide investigation. In the capital murder investigation, a prosecutor told the judge. Woodruff is being held on $100,000 bond, and Black is being held without bond. Suspicious, right? Oh, what? Wait a minute. So the dude they say LW, according to the other young man, right, Black, said that LW from the passenger side shooting. So, okay, just imagine, driver's side, he on the passenger, so he far over, and he's shooting into the car, right? But they say they not even charging him for that. They charging him about 120 Xanax, right? So the article said 120 Xanax. He already had a so-called felony case that he already had pending, right? So why are they tying him into the case like that, right? Now, Black say he's the driver, right? Now, this is the kick in the head. How did they get a sketch of a white man? Do I need to say that again? How did they get a sketch of a white man? If even the lawyer was like, well, these mothers ain't even fitting the description. They wouldn't even fit the description. You've seen what they showed. They show a white man. This came from the eyewitnesses or eyewitness of the mother. So how are they getting these two? Hey, man. Hey. You say, well, you went to the house. He told you he got gun. He got, wait a minute. So he already got a case with the same kind of crime. Right? Didn't they say that? Didn't they say that LW, let me go back, 24-year-old Larry Woodruff was arrested but had not been charged with Barnes' murder when he went before the judge, right? They said he was accused of having more than 120 Xanax pills. Then he went into this, he's no stranger to justice system. He fired his family members. He had trespassing. He's possession, attempted possession of firearm, right? And said to give him, the prosecutor asked for a high bond because of his criminal record. He also, of course, suspect in a homicide investigation. What is it, this one or another one? What is this, man? Okay, so basically you saying this other dude is saying that he's the one that did it. Now again, I'm only speculating. I wasn't there, and I only can look at about what is again being presented. You know how it is. We're just speculating. You know, when it don't have the sound of truth, right? We kind of like, hey man, that square peg in that round hole ain't fitting. So I'm trying to say, where is the white man? The mama said the white man. How are we seeing two brothers as you see on your screen? Where are these two brothers? None of them was even depicted. They said the person was shooting was a white man. I don't know, man. Something don't smell good in Denmark. That's all I'm saying. Right? Something don't smell good. Again, I understand the pressure of being, law enforcement. You got to come with something because you don't want, again, the little sister's funeral is tomorrow. So, again, they want to have something so that they can, again, bring some relief to the family. But, again, things ain't matching up. Now, again, they said they came from a party. Now, I'm not quite sure what time it was when they went to go to the coffee. Again, think about it. Mama got them up. Mama was in town, right? So mama was in there cooking breakfast. So kids' mama was like, "Come on, let's go. I need my little Joe to coffee. So I'm gonna have y'all come on. We still got on pajamas, so it's still early." Now again, I'm not sure what the time is. Now again, it has to, in order for that to be, you come back from the club. Okay, I guess you could be coming back, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. I guess you could be. I'm not sure what time they run to do coffee, right? I ain't sure of that. So I don't know if that story even makes sense either, too. But the point I'm saying is, according to what she said, they seen and they did, they back up. She seen all that because they passed it, come up, backed up on, and they gunned up. But her testimony was that it was a white cat. Matter of fact, that's what you seen when they depicted in the video. To have these two brothers there and then talking about neither one of them got a beard. Then they said, well, maybe it was a 5-shot. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody's shooting at you. I don't know if you could tell the difference between a beard and a 5 o'clock shadow unless it's kind of like mascara on. You know how somebody put that, that mascara shit on their damn beard trying to give them that, kind of get that 5 o'clock shadow, right? Now, I don't know, unless it's very observant like that, but a beard and a 5 o'clock shadow is two different things. You know what I'm saying? And the description of somebody's complexion being white and you being black, and we see these two brothers, they brown, brown skin, brothers that most of us look like. I don't know how you mistaking that for a white man. So again, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. That's why I didn't want to touch this story. Because again, from day one when I first heard it, it didn't sound right. It just didn't sound right. So again, as the story developed, we should hear more about it. But again, you ain't caught nobody. You got a person who said they was driving, making him to testify and say that LW did it, but LW ain't even getting charged for nothing. He talking about 120 Xanax and the old pending case he got. So what's this? What is this? What is this? All right, you heard it here. You heard it right here. Moving on. Moving on. But again, we give condolences to the family and to the little little Jazmine Barnes, because again, she didn't deserve that. You understand? And as a matter of fact, I don't know if y'all did. Again, I didn't even put that story in there. The other day, matter of fact, let me go on a little bit more than that. The other day, they talked about the mama and the father's background. And they gave this litany of their background, trying to tie them into drugs. Right? They was, they did that. And I'm like, damn, why y'all going there? Right? They went there with that. Showed they mug shot and everything. I'm like, damn, man, this what's going on with this, right? So is it the very tactic that you don't want it to be this? Because again, if that be the case, then it's gonna be, we've been seeing shit, and again, but this will bring a real heighten as to what's really been going on lately in this country. But to throw them and say they did it. And the dude that you saying, you ain't even charging him. And yet you supposedly went to the house, you got the bullet, you got the gun, but yet still, what's going on here? That's all I'm saying. What's going on? I ain't saying no more. To be developed as time go on, y'all. We'll be hitting it right here. Black Minds News. We'll be hitting it. All right, so. All right. I had one more, didn't I? But I guess I'm gonna go there. So, okay, well, check this out. Now we at that part of the show. I got one more story after this. So I seen this here, right? I was like, we know this sister here because of the activism she has done, the kind of symbolism she was at the time, going back in time in history. You understand? She was kind of that representation of that image, sister with the afro and all that. You know what I'm saying? When you talked about that, you use reference towards her, right? So I ran across a story today that was about her in particular, about, again, they seem like they always targeting some of the people that it looks like that have or had that kind of rapport with their people, that if they spoke, they could have credibility. Again, I won't touch the R. Kelly shit. I let everybody else have that shit, right? You have that shit because that's a diversion tactic, right? Again, that's not new news. That's old news. Them bringing that up and everybody out there biting on that, you better ask yourself what they diverting you from, huh? Over here, I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna tell you, but right now, everybody can't see it right now. But there's something else they diverting because they got everybody on R. Kelly. So you got you turning looking over here, but you better be looking over there. What is it they diverting you from? So over here, we ain't touching that. They can have that. Y'all have all that. That ain't nothing new to me. I'm not condoning. I'm just saying that ain't nothing new. Now everybody talking about that. Ooh, okay. What they diverting you from? But anyway, so him, and then it's like everybody else they keep putting. So they got him. Remember, he was a pipe piper. He could have been, how can I be the leader of the land? That's something he was singing as one of his lyrics. But this particular sister here had that same memory, but again, it got a little tainted too, because again, that feminism stuff, and then, well, let me show it first and then come back. Let you see it. Let me come back. Hold on.
Jeff Eliasov found out the reason for the decision and why it has people so upset.
If we don't get it, if we don't get it,
Frank Matthews and other community activists are calling for the immediate resignation of BCRI leadership and a boycott of the Institute following its decision to rescind the Fred Shuttlesworth Award previously awarded to Angela Davis.
Shame on this place that uses grassroots organizers. You use grassroots organizers to get tours. We have brought tours to this location, but not anymore.
Right.
Not anymore.
Right.
We'll walk right past it, not one doggone dime. Not one dime.
Protesters suggest the Jewish community influenced BCRI board members because Davis has long opposed Israel's treatment of Palestinians. But Bob Friedman says he and many other Jewish residents would have welcomed her.
Angela Davis deserves an award for her courage in fighting for democracy in the United States of America.
Longtime civil rights activist Angela Davis is indeed a daughter of Birmingham. She grew up at this home in Center Street. an area called Dynamite Hill because here there were so many racist bombings and drive-by shootings. They targeted black residents new to the neighborhood. 6 decades later, protesters are asking the city to withhold funds from the BCRI and groups to stop buying tickets for tours as they promise even more demonstrations. In Birmingham, Jeff Eliasoff, WVTM 13.
All right. So we have the icon Angela Davis that was supposedly had been getting this award, right? So let me go ahead and give you the article right quick. And put that up before so everybody can see that, right? So it says Civil Rights Institute in Alabama rescinds award for Angela Davis. You know I'm going to say that again. Civil Rights Institute in Alabama rescinds award for Angela Davis. This story was done today, January 7, 2019, coming from CNN. And this is how it reads. Civil Rights Institute in Alabama has withdrawn an award for Angela Davis, a longtime radical political activist, author, and academic. The Birmingham Civil Rights Institute Board of Directors has chosen Davis to receive its Fred Shuttleworth Human Rights Award at its annual gala next month. But the Institute decided to withdraw the award and cancel the annual gala at which Davis, a Birmingham native, would have been honored. The decision came after supporters and others concerned individuals and organizations both inside and outside of the local community began to make requests that we can reconsider our decision, the Institute Board said in a statement. Upon closer examination of Ms. Davis' statement and public record, we concluded that she unfortunately does not meet all of the criteria on which the award is based, the statement said. The board said it recognized Davis' stature as a scholar and prominent figure in civil rights history, but believes this decision is consistent with the details of the award namesake, Reverend Shuttlesworth. The board apologizes to our supporters, the community, and Ms. Davis for the confusion we have caused. Davis said in a statement to CNN on Monday she was stunned to learn of the board's reversal. The trip to Birmingham, where I was born and raised, to receive the Fred Shuttleworth Award was certain to be the highlight of my year, especially since I knew Reverend Shuttleworth personally, she said. Mayor cites protests for local Jewish officials' allies. It is unclear why the group made the decision. CNN has contacted officials at the Institute for more clarity on what the concerns were and why they made the move. Davis said in her statement that she too asked for more clarity on the board's decision. I later learned that my long-term support of justice for Palestine was at issue, she said. The Birmingham mayor, Randall Woodfin, noted in a statement his overriding feeling is one of dismay after the board chose to revoke the honor after protests from our local Jewish communities and some of its allies. CNN has also contacted the Birmingham Jewish Federation for a reaction. Davis has been a member of the Community Party, or Communist Party, and the Black Party Panther. She has been sharply critical of Israelis' policies toward Palestinians and backed by the boycotts, divestment, and sanctioned movement. One Jewish outlet, Southern Jewish Life, posted a story about the upcoming award in December, saying for some in the community there might be some digestion at the table over this year's honoree. Or indigestion, my fault. Indigestion at the table over this year's honoree. Something not included in the Institute publicity for the event at the Davis has always been an outspoken voice in the boycott of Israel's movement and advocates extensively on college campus for the isolation of the Jewish state, saying Israel engaged in ethnic cleansing and is connected to police violence against African Americans in the United States, the story said. Davis said she has devoted much of her own activism to international solidarity and specifically to linking struggles in other parts of the world to United States grassroots campaigns against police violence, the prison industrial complex, and racism more broadly. The rescinding of this invitation and the cancellation of the event where I was scheduled to speak was thus not primarily an attack against me, but rather against the very spirit of the individuality of justice, she said. They said despite the board's decision, she still plans to travel to Birmingham in February for an alternative event organized by those who believe that the movement for civil rights is in this moment must include a robust decision or discussion of all of the injustices that surround us. This controversy might be being avoided entirely. Wolfson said that he regretted the move by the Institute because it failed to create an opportunity for necessary consensus dialogue. I am dismayed because this controversy might have been avoided entirely had it been handled differently. I am dismayed because, as has been the case throughout Birmingham's history, people of good will behave reflectively. Rather than engaging in meaningful discourse over their differences and seeking common ground, the mayor said in a statement, "Throughout my life, I have been a person who tries to see and understand all reasonable points of view on any given issue. As mayor, I believe that quality is an essential part of my job, a means of encouraging interchange and forging the consensus necessary to arrive at the fair and workable solution to any issue or opportunity that confronts us as a city." CNN has not heard back yet from Birmingham Civil Rights Institute for Birmingham Jewish Federation. All right. So what we see is Angela Davis. Back in the day, remember that was the Black Power symbol. That was Angela Davis, the nice African, you know what I'm saying, the powerful sister, the hand up, you know what I'm saying. Angela Davis was a symbol of black empowerment, right? Going during that time, right? Well, you know, things change a little bit. Not that her advocacy and again, some people you separate your public life from your, other life, right? You know what I'm saying? Some of those might know what I'm talking about, right? And that might be the little taint that some people may have had, but again, that's your preference. You do what you do. But again, as to her work, her litany of what she has given and provided, impeccable, right? She's done a lot. She advocates for a lot. She's given a lot, right? And so it was that you decided to had already honored her to give it. And then all of a sudden you're going to say, well, we're going to cancel the whole event. You're not getting that. And matter of fact, you don't even really qualify for it, right? Like, really? Right? Well, again, see, what about anti-Negroism, right? I know we got anti-Semitics and then anti-Negroism. I guess that trumps it, right? Everything trump anti-Negroism, right? You can't be. Let's see. You can be enough being Jewish, but you can't. You can be too black. You know what I'm saying? You can't be too much of that, but you can always be too damn black. And being too damn black is not healthy, right? You're saying things that, again, kind of like that's what happened with Mark Hill, right? Mark Lamont Hill, right? It was the same thing, pro-Israeli and, all that stuff. And then you're getting the backlash, and now he's got the pink slip, right? So it says she is not in the capacity for them to do that. But they said, well, the word got out that you're going to get this award. And so, well, we as this community said that we won't be able to digest. We'll have indigestion at this banquet if we see that you're getting it, right? So we're going to use our Semitic power. And guess what? They ain't even having no event. They closing down. You see the brothers and sisters out there talking about, you know what I'm saying? We bring too much money to this industry. We bring tours and stuff here. And here's a hometown person who done put in that damn work, and here y'all is because of a stand she took. Well, again, see what they say one thing, but then they mean another thing, right? You can say what you want to say, but then I guess they have the right to pull the plug when they feel like, well, you're going against what we stand for. Again, when you understand the history of that whole thing, that Palestinian and Israeli thing, again, you can see what it is, right? But, those who advocate on the behalf of that, again, the institutions and people and places and how they, control, and then that's what they do, right? So, again, fuck it. I got one for you, Angela. If you should happen to come across this, remember these words right here. Let me set it up. We're on the show there because we're at the almost 2:30 mark. Well, check this out. Check this out. Well, I'm going to close it up with this here. I had to do this because this one just came out too. And one of, you know what I'm saying, I think this would be very appropriate to end the show. But first, before that, let me go back and all see who all out here. Let me get some shout outs for those in here who are still here. I got up in here. Let's see who I got up in here. I got, let's see, set up. Okay, y'all. Abdul Kabir, good. What's up, brother? You know, as always, was good. Angela Barron, what's good, sister? Leonard DeYuta, as always, brother, was good. I hope you still here. Numa C, fuck you. Or fuck you, right? Who else is in here? Who else in who gave out a little something? Okay, that's about it. Anybody else in here don't know who he is. So I want to thank everybody for y'all coming out tonight. But, you know, before I get to the end of the show, so I want to make sure, because I know last couple times y'all come, you might have came in, didn't say nothing. One day I didn't say nothing because I had to present what I do because I had to get ready for do. I did 2 shows today. Think about that, y'all. I did 2 shows. I'll try to do 2 again tomorrow, right? So anyway, check this out. We're going to end the show on this. Let me show you what I'm talking about first. All right. Oh, let's see where I'm going to go with this. Huh? Let's see if I can pull it up. Let's see. Well, this is this right here. Check it out, y'all. This here's called, it was by Daily Wire, done by Williams, the worst enemy of black people, done these January the 5th, 2019, by Walter E. Williams. Anybody know about Walter E. Williams? All right, this is how the story goes. Malcolm X was a Muslim minister and human rights activist, born in 1925. He met his death at the hands of assassins in 1965. Malcolm X was a courageous advocate for black civil rights. But unlike Martin Luther King, he was not that forgiving of whites for their crimes against black Americans. He did not eschew violence as a tool to achieve civil and human rights. His black and white detractors accused him of preaching racism and violence. Despite the controversy, he has been called one of the greatest and most influential black Americans. Many black Americans have great respect for Malcolm X. Many schools bear his name, and many streets have been renamed in honor of him, both at home and abroad. But while black Americans honor Malcolm X, one of his basic teaching goes largely ignored. I think it's an important lesson, so I will quote a large part of it. Malcolm X said, "The worst enemy that the Negro have is this white man that runs around here drooling at the mouth, professing to love Negroes and calling himself a liberal. And it is the following of these white liberals that has perpetuated problems that Negroes have. If the Negro wasn't taken, tricked, or deceived by the white liberals, then Negroes would be together and solve our own problems. I only cite these things to show that in America, the history of the white liberal has been nothing but a series of trickery designed to make Negroes think that the white liberals was going to solve our problem. Our problem will never be solved by the white man. There's a historical tidbit that those much younger than I, almost 83 years old, are ignorant of the black history we have been called and called ourselves. Several different names among the more respectable have been colored, Negro, black, Afro-American, and Afro-American. I recall when Mrs. Viola Meekins, when I was a student at Stoddard Fletcher Junior High School in the late 1940s, had our class go page by page through a textbook and correct each instance in which Negroes was printed with a lowercase n. Malcolm X Day in minds. Negro was a proud name and not used diversely by blacks as it is today. Malcolm X was absolutely right about our finding solution to our own problems. The most devastating problem that black people face today have absolutely nothing to do with our history of slavery and discrimination. Chief among them is the breakdown of the black family. Within 75% of blacks are born to single, often young mothers. In some cities and neighborhoods, the parentage of out-of-wedlock birth is over 80. Actually, breakdown is the wrong term. The black family doesn't form in the first place. This is entirely new among blacks. According to the 1938 Encyclopedia of the Social Sciences, that year only 11% of black children were born unwed mothers. As late as the 1950s, female-headed households constitute only 18% of the black population. Today, it's close to 70%. And much earlier times during the late 1800s, there were only slight differences between the black family structure and those of other ethnic groups. In New York City in 1925, 85% of the kin-related black households were two-parent households. Welfare has encouraged young women to have children out of wedlock. The social stigma once associated with unwed pregnancy is all but gone. Plus, shotgun weddings are a thing of the past. That's when males members of a girl's family made the boy who got her pregnant lived up to his responsibility. The high crime rates in so many black communities impose huge personal costs and have turned once thriving communities into economic wastelands. The Ku Klux Klan couldn't sabotage chances for black academic excellence more effectively than the public school system in most cities. Politics and white liberals will not solve these and other problems. As Malcolm X said, your problems will never be solved by the white man. Walter E. W. is a professor of economics at George Mason University. To find out more about Walter E. Williams and read features by other Creative Syndicate writers and cartoonists, visit Creative Syndicate webpage at www.creators.com. Oh, that's about it for the show tonight, y'all. I think that's more self-explanatory. That was the message Malcolm said. White man ain't gonna never solve our problems. So going to him to get any accolades, any kind of merit, if you go into his institution, that's what he can do. He can prohibit that. But does it take away from your work? Does it take away from what you've done? No. So don't look for him to give it to you. We gonna acknowledge it. We gonna honor you. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody who came out tonight. You know how we go in the show. Malcolm definitely gonna be there. To the next show, y'all, we see each other. Give that universal nod. What's good, fam? What's good? Let's show love, right? Call this animosity out, because the only thing is John Henry Clark has told us, only friends we got is us. Only family we got is us. There is nobody else outside of us. And once we recognize that and come and make some kind of unification, we can make some changes among ourselves. You know, everybody else got their own little towns. Where's Negro Town? Where's Black Town? Or where's Moortown, right? Where's these towns at, right? But again, you know, we're going to have some culling. We're going to have to pull some weeds out. But until then, those that have a light of mind and heart, I recognize you brothers and sisters and got love for you, as I hopefully you got love for me. And with that being said, to the next show, stay black. And, you know, take one day at a time as it comes. Because, again, nothing is promised. But until then, let's keep it going and keep it moving. Stay black, peace, love, water, grease, and hair, and all that good stuff.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything. Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I and everyone in this arena tonight are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on. And it definitely was not prepared for black people to in the end begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin.
They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 ones before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. There were 5 ones before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to biscuit! Yeah! You can't make me do anything like prick!
problem is a choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptist. We're not brutalized because we're Methodist. We're not brutalized because we're Muslim. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga, and if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true. I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, "Brother Greg, you coming by today?" And I said, "Malcolm, I love you." And I said, "I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there." He said, "What do you mean, Brother Greg?" I said, "Well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East." And I said, "But I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.